Hello and welcome to the Weekend Spread, the Schooner Pod's weekly college football podcast. We are kicking this thing off significantly earlier than normal given the holiday schedule. So make sure to, why am I asking you to make sure to tune in? It's already happening. But anyways, I'm Bobby. I'll be your host as always, joined by our esteemed panel of pickers. We got the Jameson Maxwell, Ty Lee, and the captain himself, Bowden Blake. Boys, we're here. Last week of the regular season, only 2 more weeks of the weekend spread left with championship week looming. And look, college football is in a pretty chaotic place right now. And look, we've all seen the slate, and I'm going to be up front. Not a lot of Big 12 on it. So I'm going to go ahead.
Wild, because there could be a potential 6-way tie, I think, for first place.
No, I get it. That's what I was going to say, is the Big 12 is an incredibly interesting conference, and I feel like the slate doesn't reflect it because the games, I think themselves aren't that good. So I do want to give some time in terms of the SEC Big 12 fairness doctrine we've had going on here. Blake, what is going on in the Big 12? What an insane conference. What's going on after just a crazy week 13 with the conference championship race?
I have no idea how it's going to shake out. I've been trying to look for clear guidance on who's going to be in the championship game. Do we, even now, do we have a chance? I still think we do. With everybody losing this weekend, we'll still get a team into the college football playoff. But yeah, go look out there. I think it's bball.something.net. They've done all the, they put in all the tiebreakers, and you can select each result for the Big 12 games to figure out how the standings will shake out. Because although we're not picking a lot of these games, each one is very, could be detrimental to one another's chances, just because this thing will end in a multi-way tie at the top. Most likely, it's going to come all the way down to multiple degrees of tiebreakers. I think if you have me choosing who's going to win the Big 12 today, I think ASU's the only one trending in the right direction right now. It seems like Colorado's kind of middling for me. They hit a tough Kansas team, one that has just been butchering all the Big 12 favorites, but seems like BYU slipping, Iowa State slipping. And Kansas State may be a little bit idle, but if I had to choose right now, it seems like all the momentum is in ASU's favor to win this.
Yeah, I mean, I would certainly agree there, given that significant win against BYU this weekend and just everything we've seen. They've been incredible.
Dillingham rocks. He's one of my top 3 favorite coaches right now, and he is awesome.
He's just excellent. Jameson, Ty, any other takeaways from week 13 conference championship race, anything like that, as we reach the end of the regular season here in college football?
No, it's just fun that there's just so much competition that it's I think the 12-team playoff, some people don't like it, but also it creates so many opportunities for this week of college football. Like Blake said about conference championships, who's going to be there. There's also fights for the playoff and in those last spots in the at-large bids. This is going to be an electric football weekend.
Well, and not only that, but with conference championships, with Blake talking about Baylor having a chance to make the conference title, if they win, they are in the college football freaking playoff.
And they got to play Kansas though.
But of course, there's a lot that can happen to get to that point. But it's just an absolutely insane season, and I know some of the talk about just schedule disparity and other stuff like that can kind of be annoying with college football right now, but I really don't think it's ever been as good as it's been right now. It's been truly excellent.
It was, as a doom and gloomer, this weekend revived me a little bit because it was all the fan bases that were going to benefit, I would say, from the perceived bias of the committee. The committee is going to have to do some extra legwork if they really want some of these big brands to make it. There is a lot of teams sitting there with 3 losses that the committee probably would love to have it. They would love to have Alabama in there. But at this point, you got to wins matter, but also inexcusable losses to multiple teams like matter just as much. And so I'm very excited. Like I will be all eyes on Tuesday to watching this committee trying to choose these teams. I want to see where their head's at.
Yeah. And frankly, that Alabama loss to OU is about as unexcusable as it gets. That was really bad. They didn't just lose, they got dominated.
So. It was an ass kicking. Like, yeah, it's not even, it wasn't Vanderbilt was bad, and that was like a close-ish game. Like Bama was keeping it close. OU just whooped them. They just killed them.
It was a delight. But anyways, guys, let's go ahead and get into the slate. We are recording Scooter Pod and Weekend Spread back to back, so a bit of a late night for us on this Sunday. Kicking us off with our first game, it is the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, 10-1 overall, 9-2 against the spread, heading to Southern California to take on USC, 6-5, bowl eligible after a big rivalry win against UCLA, 7-4 against the spread. Notre Dame only a 7.5 point favorite here. You can find this one 2:30 p.m. Central on CBS. Ty, who do you like?
Yeah, this is an exciting one. Obviously, a game that has such tremendous history going all the way back. Funny enough, this one is going to be at a neutral site at a state park owned by the city of Los Angeles. So I guess USC did not have a home stadium to host this in, but it was very exciting. And to me, it's very clear cut. You have to ride with the hot hand here right now. And I understand that Notre Dame, well, I understand. I don't know if some other people understand, but Notre Dame hasn't in recent weeks really faced anyone with a pulse. I know this is going to be a controversial take to say that this USC team is a tougher opponent than Army, but I very firmly believe that Army has gotten away with just kind of winning the games that they should win with a very, very easy, literally the second easiest schedule in college football. So I think that this one is going to be much greater of a test. Actually, I'm kind of shocked that this one is only 7.5. It is Lincoln Riley. It is USC. They have some stars. So there's always the potential that USC can pull something out here at the end of the season or at least keep it close. But to me, all the momentum is going in Notre Dame's favor right now. They see, maybe there's some sort of playoff look ahead type thing going on, but Notre Dame and then some of these Big Ten teams have just kind of gotten away with these schedules that are just enough to get them into the 12-team playoff, and then they get to just coast from there. But I really like Notre Dame minus 7.5 in this one. I think, like I said, momentum is just going in their direction, whereas USC is kind of floundering right now. So go ahead and give me the Irish. Second week in a row, I'm going to take them minus 7.5 at a neutral site against the Trojans.
Yeah, this one scares me. It's a personal stay away game, but going to have to pick. There's just a lot of unknowns around this team. Like USC, I guess the unknown is, will they even show up? They have been playing more legit competition than USC, but when they have been playing said legit competition, it seems like besides Penn State, they've just been floundering with everybody that comes across them. Their win against UCLA last weekend honestly was impressive. Like UCLA was trending in the very right direction, kind of the opposite of USC. So being able to put them away, that was fantastic for them. My guy Jaden Mavia. Sorry.
Oh my gosh. I wanted to say Diego Pavia.
I want to say Diego Pavia, but it's good to see him out there, a transfer from UNLV. I think I'm still going to go USC. I just think Lincoln Riley, like they can scheme up something that Notre Dame hasn't seen yet. My thing with Notre Dame is like they have been killing teams. They've been beating teams by legit margins, but at the end of the day, their best win so far, besides Texas A&M in the first week of the season, which I feel like doesn't hold that much weight after looking at this Texas A&M team and how they've developed and like where they are, it doesn't hold as much weight for me. So like if you look at that, it's Louisville. A Louisville team that's good, but not fantastic. It just seems like Notre Dame has just been limping around untested. One of these teams is going to bite them at their heels a little bit. And I think USC probably has the best chance of, or I guess the final chance to do it because they're making the playoff if they win here. So I'm going to take USC, just keep it close. I think Notre Dame wins, but Lincoln Riley just schemes up something.
Yeah, you got to give you got to give USC and Lincoln Riley credit for making the Jaden Maeva change. Benching Miller Moss has really kind of changed this offense and this team as a whole. I don't want to say that it's like they're not good. They're not like revolutionary, like, oh, wow, they're 180, they're racking up touchdowns, all of that. But it's definitely an improvement. They've looked good. They looked pretty solid against Nebraska. They looked solid against UCLA. Both decent teams. Can they beat Notre Dame? I don't know. But at the Coliseum, you have a chance to kind of make a statement against a rival. Pretty. I like USC to keep it close. That hook feels nice. I don't think Notre Dame's really been tested all that much. And maybe this is a bit of wish casting because I really hope that this Notre Dame team who hasn't played anybody and lost to Northern Illinois. I want them. I don't want to begin the playoff. So maybe I'm just kind of picking with my heart here, but I think somehow USC finds a way to either cover or get a win here.
Picking with your heart, USC.
Yeah, no, I know.
Honestly,
it feels wrong.
But Lincoln Riley's so bad there right now that it doesn't feel like
they got their bowl game. What are they fighting for? Is what I'm saying. Like USC, I don't know how much they're fighting for in this game.
You know what else is?
They went the Shillelagh. Sorry, Ty.
You know what else is very unfortunate with the way that the SEC is panned out? Does losing this one actually keep Notre Dame out of the playoff?
It should.
It should.
It absolutely should.
I say it should,
but
that's this committee never abides by it should.
I don't think that.
But they're gonna look at all the brands that they have in the playoff if they do it objectively, and then they're gonna be like, oh God, how are we gonna get people hyped up for Boise versus Indiana or something like that?
They're gonna put 10-2 Notre Dame in over a 1-loss Indiana. They're definitely gonna do that.
No, not over them, but like
It'd be funny if they did, though.
Well,
that would be really bad.
That would be first game announced. It's just Notre Dame versus Alabama.
At that point, you got to storm the Great Wolf Lodge or wherever they're having their meetings at, and
they're having it at the Great Wolf Lodge.
It's some hotel conference room in the North DFW area.
I can't remember where it is. Anyways, keep talking, y'all.
Blake, what did you pick? Sorry, I missed it. I'm
USC.
Okay. And is anyone else like super surprised that Bobby's picking USC? Like I was like, I'm gonna pick Notre Dame. I don't think USC's got as much to fight for as Notre Dame. And then I was like, it's gonna suck because I'm gonna be picking the same thing as Bobby. Bobby just gifted this on a platter to me. Thank you, Bobby, so much. Notre Dame big. I can say like, oh, maybe they haven't played that good of opponents, but whatever they've been doing recently, it's been big. They've been just absolutely blowing out teams. I think they've got a pretty good squad. By the eye test, I don't care about their opponents. Eye test, they look super dominant, and I think that they could really pummel this USC team.
That's fair. I have been burnt by Notre Dame quite a few times this season, so that's fair. All right, moving on to our Big 12 slate. We're kind of splitting this up by Big 12 and SEC. It's Farmageddon, Kansas State. Ooh, these are not right.
Kansas State,
these are very much not right. Your Mark would love to see these. It's Kansas State heading to Ames to take on the Iowa State Cyclones. Iowa State favored by 2.5. You can find this one 6:30 p.m. Central on Fox. I genuinely do love that the next regular season matchup for both of these teams is Farmageddon again, but in Ireland. So next time we see this, it'll be on week 0 in Dublin. That's going to be delightful. Jameson, who do you like?
I think Kansas State can get an upset in this one and win this game. Iowa State this past month, I guess, has been less. I guess ever since, honestly, more than a month, because that UCF game sucked, and then they just sucked versus Texas Tech. They lost to Kansas. I was hoping for more versus Cincinnati, and then they kind of just toyed around with Utah. Like, I've not been very happy about it. Kansas State has been toying around, but then they shifted it for the better this weekend and went back to like what they're known to be and give the ball DJ Giddens, let Avery Johnson run, and then they just destroyed Cincinnati. I think that that's good enough in terms of momentum. I don't know if Iowa State is got the momentum that I'm looking for in a big game like this. Even though it's at home, I'm going to fade them and go Kansas State.
Yeah, this is a very interesting one. Iowa State has looked pretty wobbly at times. Barely escaped with their, college football playoff / Big 12 title lives last weekend against a bad Utah team. And to me, I just feel like they've just been skating by. K-State's hit a different gear, as we saw last week. I like the Wildcats to win this one in Ames. So K-State plus 2.5 is my play. But I don't know. As with everything with the Big 12, it's really genuinely a toss-up.
Yeah, this one scares me like no other. I think Iowa State actually has their own future in their hands. If they win this game, they're going to the Big 12 championship, and that freaks me out. I feel like Iowa State's gonna botch this. It's gonna be like a Nick Young turn your back half court shot that's 10 feet wide. I don't trust this Iowa State team. Jameson summed it up perfectly. It feels like they were skidding towards that back half of the schedule versus some, I think, teams with a pulse. And last week versus Utah just kind of concerned me. It's like Utah missed a field goal at the end of that game to tie it. Like it could have easily gone bad. K-State just needs to figure out, like, the way this bet loses is K-State just doesn't run the ball. Like K-State, I feel like in their losses against Houston, against Arizona State, like it just feels like they don't embrace their offensive identity of just, you have a great running quarterback, you have a great running back, just run the ball. Stop trying to establish Avery Johnson this year. I know you want it for the future. You want him to be a little bit more dual threat, but he's shown it. That's not it. Like anytime he has to actually, you deviate from that game plan, you get a BYU where he's just throwing picks over, like all over the place. He's not being consistent. Just run like a cool read option. Like do what Kansas is doing. That's like the game plan should be for them. Just run the damn ball every single time. Hopefully they do that. If they do that, they win this game. If not, this one's going to be a disaster. But I'm going to take Kansas State to cover. I think they win outright.
Yeah, I'm with Blake on this one. I also like the Wildcats, and I love the idea that they're going to be playing again in Dublin, and some random Irish person might see K-State and think to themselves, the Cowboys uniforms look a little different in person.
That's funny.
If K-State if K-State wouldn't have botched it, we could have had Farmageddon 3 times in a row, basically.
That is true, because we could have had this
Big 12 championship Farmageddon.
Well, and if they were good enough, college football playoff Farmageddon, so you could have gotten to 4.
That is true.
Yeah. Could have been fun. Anyways, moving on to our next game. It's the Kansas Jayhawks, who have kind of been the killers of dreams out here, off their third straight ranked win. They're 5-6, which is what is going on here. They've just turned it on out of nowhere. They're one win away from a bowl berth, going to Waco to take on the Baylor Bears. 7-4 overall, 8-3 against the spread. Baylor, a 1.5 point favorite at home at McLean Stadium. You can find this one 11 a.m. Central on ESPN2. Ty, who do you like?
I don't know. It's like, I want to say at this point in the season, right, you ride the hot hand and you ride the motivation. And Kansas obviously is the hot hand and has the motivation to fight for a bowl win. So everything that I'm seeing is like, oh, this is so easy. Like, Baylor, they've kind of already made their bowl game. They haven't really been super, super impressive. So it's so challenging. But then I saw Michael Whitman in the chat say Kansas will continue to kill dreams by losing to the Bears. And that is just such a compelling argument that now I have no idea what to do, because I was so set on my picking Kansas until I read that comment. And now I just can't get it out of my head. I don't know what to do. I hate that I'm picking this one first, but as a ball knower, I have to go with Baylor on this one.
Yeah, this one's going to be a tough one. I think it's two equally matched teams. Kansas, I've said it this entire year. I've been wrong many times this year, but the one point I've been right on is this Kansas team is significantly better than what their record is saying. They were not like one of the bad teams that they just lose a whole bunch of games, they take their foot off the gas. No, like every single game they've been trying very hard, even in a losing effort. It's an insanely hard offense to defend. Like if you can't defend against the run, you're screwed. You're screwed. Like against Colorado, they gashed them for 331. And like, of course, like Colorado, I wouldn't say has like the best run defense per se. But even like Arizona State wasn't able to take advantage of that. Even did they play UCF no, it's UCF earlier. Like there were teams that were pretty good on the ground game early that Colorado was able to stuff. It's just Kansas is that elite. I'm going to go Kansas here. I think they win outright. I don't think Baylor has faced a legit running offense really all year. Like Oklahoma State is probably the closest that you're coming to there. And that's like after OSU quit. And like TCU, your better teams on there, TCU, BYU, Iowa State, not like super, like I think Iowa State's a decently running offense, but not they haven't faced anything legit. So I think just Kansas puts them in a bind here. So give me Kansas plus the points.
Yeah, I mean Baylor has been on an undeniable heater since the start of the season. I mean they were what 2-4 earlier.
Yeah.
So
yeah, 2-4.
Definitely an incredible turnaround. But yeah, I agree. It was against some weak parts of the Big 12. Look, Kansas is the killer of dreams. Baylor still technically has dreams that can be killed. If you really look at it, with Big 12 championship still on the radar for them. And Kansas, they're one win away from making a bowl, which is for that program still big to them. I know they had big expectations entering the year, but getting to a bowl, given the hole they dug themselves in and what they had ahead of themselves on that slate, unbelievable. I think they're going to be locked in. I think they get a big win in Waco. I'm going to go KU plus 1.5 here, but we'll see. I think this is going to be an intriguing one.
What's the scenario, Blake, for Baylor to make it?
Oh gosh, let me pull out the
It's
thing.
something really deep.
No, they're one of the hardest ones to get there.
Yeah.
It's like you need I think it's like a combination of like 2 of 3 of like Colorado, BYU, and Iowa State. I think those are the 3. Or Arizona State might replace BYU. It's a hard combination to get.
Yeah. I like Kansas in this one too, Bobby. I like going against you, but this is one of my ones that I want to kind of stand pat on. It just seems like that they're fighting so hard for this bowl. I just don't see a scenario where they're not going to get that 6th win. I understand Waco. I understand Baylor has been doing well, but it's just this Kansas team has just gotten it together.
It'd be genuinely hilarious if they missed a bowl after all of that.
I know, right? I just don't see it. I just do not see that happening.
No, I agree. All right, moving on to SEC, our SEC slate, which is quite robust. We've got the South Carolina Gamecocks 8-3 overall and against the spread. It's a Palmetto Bowl. They're taking on Clemson, who are 9-3, 5-6 against the spread. Little old Clemson favored by 2.5 here. You can find this one 11 a.m. Central on ESPN. Jameson, who do you like in this one?
Hardest pick of the week right here. Just sign, seal, delivered. This game is so tough, and it's going to be so fun. Probably, is this a hot take? Like, other than Texas A&M, this is probably the most excited I am for any. That's not even. That's like lukewarm. I guess, would I be more excited about this game than Texas A&M? If I had
because the winner of that game goes to the SEC championship.
I know.
This has a much higher potential to be an entertaining game to watch.
Yes, if we had nothing about what I was trying to say is if we had no proximity and postseason, kind of vibe with the Texas A&M game, I think that these two teams versus each other is going to be a lot of fun. I think it comes down to the end, and I think Clemson kicks a field goal for the win. That's a weak answer, but the South Carolina team's so freaking good. I could see them just blowing them out.
Yeah, I'm going to go with South Carolina here on the road.
Good. Yes.
Yeah, I
know. You fell right into my trap.
I do like the Gamecocks, though. I think they've been one of the coolest stories in college football. They've really turned things around, had just been just rolling. They look really, really damn good. And, you know, I think Clemson, of course, you know, we've seen struggle. They haven't played the same type of schedule that Carolina has. Not even close. And look, in a just world, we'd be talking about the South Carolina team as a you know, better playoff contender than in Alabama, but apparently they're not in that conversation. They're as hot as anyone in the country. Those edge rushers are unbelievable. Sellers has come into his own. Raheem Sanders has been running the rock good. I don't care that's on the road. I don't care anything about Clemson. That Tiger Paw might have meant something in 2018. I don't think they're the same Clemson as before, and I don't think South Carolina is the same South Carolina as before. So I like Carolina plus 2.5.
I think South Carolina blows them out. Absolutely just kills them. I don't understand this line. Like, I know home field advantage at Clemson is probably going to be pretty good, but I've looked at Clemson. Clemson is a paper tiger, no pun intended. They have played 2 legit teams this entire year, lost to both of them. And they kind of crank some of these bad teams, but their best win besides that, it's Pittsburgh, and they didn't even look that impressive in that game. I don't trust Cade Klubnik in big moments. I don't trust that coaching staff to actually scheme up things well. Their defense, yes, can be good, but I like the South Carolina defense way better. That defensive line, we've highlighted it all year, is legit. They will rip them apart. I am going South Carolina. It's not even going to be close. They've hit the turbo button at the right time. They rarely, it feels like, win this rivalry. I think, did they win last year? 2 years ago?
They won 2 years ago, I think. Yeah.
But they're always struggling against Clemson, but they're going to just kill them this year. So give me South Carolina.
Look, this is, like I've been saying all podcast, you got to ride with the hot hands. And really, there's not a team in the nation. This might be a controversial sort of statement, but just if you've watched this South Carolina team, if you've seen a good bit of their games, especially their home games, especially, honestly, the ones early in the season when they lost, kind of heartbreakingly, there has not been a team this season that I think has a better just vibe around the program. They're building something great there. I'm not saying South Carolina is going to be competing for championships in the next 2 or 3 years, but that's what
their fans think. That's what's crazy about South Carolina fans. They don't have realistic expectations of where their program is in the pecking order of the SEC. They are probably towards the bottom.
I mean, I guess if you look at
chicken pun.
Yeah, they're probably the only ones trending upwards right now, and you can trace sort of a sustainable growth. Like, obviously Vandy is on the way up, but Bama trending down right now. Like, I'm not trying to do a bit. Georgia certainly looks to be trending a little down from what they have been. Texas at best is sort of plateauing what they were last year. So, I mean, I don't know. So, obviously, like I said, Vandy is trending upwards, but I don't think anyone looks at Vandy and goes, that's a fundamental program that's going to be doing this each year. I think South Carolina, I would expect, as long as Coach Beamer is there, they kind of continue this same sort of trajectory. And really, it's beautiful to see, because as an OU fan, I've seen this too. It's beautiful to see what a team can do when it's freed from the shackles of Spencer Rattler. And that's really the one change that has caused this South Carolina team to have good vibes and to start to perform better. So, yeah, I got to ride with South Carolina. It is funny that Clemson is just going to continue to churn out probably 10-win seasons. I'm in this calculation factoring in the postseason into that 10th win. But, yeah, I think South Carolina if you haven't been watching them, it's probably easy to just big brand Dabo and Clemson, easy win, small line. I think Clemson picks it here. But the vibes in South Carolina, they could lose, but the vibes in South Carolina are just amazing, and they're really building something special. So I think they're going to show up for this one and continue to fight.
All right, there we go. 3 out of 1 for you, or for South Carolina. Moving on to our next one. We've got the Tennessee Volunteers, 9-2 overall, 6-5 against the spread, heading to Nashville to take on the Vanderbilt Commodores, who are 6-5, 8-3 against the spread. Tennessee favored by 10. I can find this one. Oh God, my times are messed up. You can find this one at some point. Ty, who do you like?
Yeah, I like Tennessee in this one. I like that the line is, I think, a very reasonable 10. And I think that's very attainable for this Tennessee team. Really, the only thing that would worry me is a backdoor on this one. I don't think there's any realistic scenario. Obviously, all sorts of craziness can occur, and we've seen it with this Vanderbilt team. But I think realistically, 9 times out of 10, Tennessee gets this one. I like them winning by 14, so give me 3 points there. Insurance, I love that. So give me Tennessee -10 against the Commodores.
Yeah, this is a sneaky good little rivalry. I know Tennessee has bigger rivals than they would consider it, but in state, in Nashville, where probably a lot of Tennessee fans reside, I gotta go with Diego. This is my last time I could go with it. I gotta go with the Diego Magic. I was kind of disgusted.
He's been cooking.
He's still cooking. He had them in that LSU game early. That separated it late, but they were in it early. Tennessee, I think, is getting a little too comfortable right now, and I'm not liking it. I was honestly more disgusted when it came to the OU game, not by the rushing the field, but Bobby reaching out to Vol's Twitter once again afterwards to basically get patted on the head by them, like, good boy, just absolutely getting sunned by the entire Tennessee fan base. Him being like, thank me for doing your bidding, sire. Like, that's what you were out there doing.
Not at all. No.
It was so bad. It put OU in a worse position than that field storming by far, that it's like, thank me, my Tennessee overlords, for doing something good. And so I don't like the positioning where they're at. They think they run the show now. The power dynamics are all off in the SEC. Like a few weeks ago, we were going to war with these people, and now Bobby's over here bending the knee, wants to get that
bending
love,
the knee.
Oh,
it's a little hat tip.
You might have been on both knees, if you know what I mean. But it was
Blake.
It was a disgusting display of, come look at me, come thank me for doing your bidding. I can advance Tennessee's future into the college football playoff by our win. It was bad. It was bad. It was the worst thing I saw coming out of that OU game.
And
so
Blake, watch this. He's going to pick Tennessee to cover this spread.
Yeah.
Okay, I know exactly what Jameson's trying to do.
Where am I doing that? Where am I trying to do that?
You're trying to maneuver me into going, with Vanderbilt and Diego
I'm being
Pavia.
pretty obvious right here. So
I know you are.
I'm doing?
You absolutely are. And I'm going to go with Diego Pavia and Vanderbilt to cover the spread.
Good pick, Bobby.
Because they really haven't let me down that often. Tennessee hasn't been overall that impressive, I feel like, at times. And, to me, I feel like this is a game where you can see Vandy keeping it close. I think the Vols win it, but overall, Vandy and Diego Pavia do enough to keep it close. Blake, I don't understand it.
Your first thought was the victory cigar to reach out to Vol Twitter to interact with them. Like, that's where, not like
you realize, Channel TN. That was not the first thing I said. What are you talking about?
It's not the first, but it's pretty. My mind would not have been on the state of Tennessee after that, a mega win like that. That's all I gotta say.
Look, Channel TN DM'd me and congratulated me. I was like, you know what? This would be fun. What if I'm smoking a cigar? What if I make a little nod?
Did you get fur on?
Yeah, I had my coat on because
it's like a fur though. It looks like furry.
Yeah,
it's what kind of coat is this? Are we talking like ankle long, like black?
Okay. So it's it was a mink coat, man. Yeah.
Dude's wearing mink.
Yeah, no, it was.
What was it?
So my
What the heck? Is Bobby walking around with a mink coat and a cigar, just
No.
walking around?
it was
Norman,
great.
like-
I
Get
got
him some
several
walking around
compliments.
money.
I got several compliments on it. It was delightful. My grandma was so when her husband passed away about a year or so ago, she had a bunch of coats and was like, "Hey, I need to get rid of some of these coats. Can you help me sell them on the internet?" She asked, and there was this one that was mink, and she was like, "I really wish I don't know who's gonna buy this one." I'm like, you know what? I'll take it off your hands for you. I don't know when I'll ever get a chance to use it. So when I did the whole tailgating, stakeout, all of that, I'm like, this is the time to wear the mink. I don't care.
How long is this coat?
It's relatively long.
Yeah, it's a
Like,
duster. It's a mink duster.
It is kind of a mink duster, and it's super old, so no recent minks were harmed or anything. But yeah, it was.
So
it's a
lives
nice
don't
coat.
matter if they die like 100 years ago.
I don't know, man. I don't know ethics of this. I wouldn't do it now. I'm not commissioning like.
Bobby said the minks are already dead.
Look,
Okay.
we beefed with Vol Twitter. Now we're going after a beef with PETA.
You know?
This is important. This is important evidence for Blake to know. Bobby was tweeting to try to get any sort of approval from Vol Twitter an hour before he said anything about the win in our group chat.
Oh,
Okay.
no.
What?
This is
No. Post game. You didn't say anything until 11:40 something in the group chat.
What was there to say in the group chat? There's nothing.
like
to
how
were all
happy you are.
What
You
was
wanted
there
to
to
go
say to Vol
Twitter?
Twitter?
You wanted to go to Vol Twitter immediately after the stadium. And
I had the thought.
doing their bidding, you little squire in your little like Jon Snow like robes going. And your polo sneaking out looks like you have a tie on, so I thought you were like in a full length suit with like a
That's-
tie.
I love
Better than
that,
I
Bobby.
I
Bobby,
thought.
I'm on your team with this. That's awesome.
Looking like I just got like been playing hours of Red Dead Redemption or something. Just
How cold was it? 60 degrees at the game?
I didn't wear it at the game. Like I wore it in the morning when it was really cold, and I wore it in the evening when actually, honestly, it wasn't even that cold. But I was like, I'm smoking a cigar and putting the mink coat on.
I know, Bobby.
I'll admit it. I'll admit it. If you have a mink coat and you're smoking like at the ready, you're going to put it on if you're smoking a cigar.
He didn't want to soil it with a loss. That's why he didn't wear it into the game.
That is true. And I made sure I saw the tweet. I wanted to say something in the chat, but I was like, just wait, we're podcasting tomorrow. I can catch him off guard. He won't be ready with his like little.
You did well done, but no, I thought it was a fair thing. You know, I thought it was kind of funny that we went full circle with Tennessee. I liked it. It was fine. Anyways,
I wasn't like when
We're gonna still talk about
TCU
this?
beat Utah. I wasn't going to BYU fans immediately after being like, "Praise me, you BYU fans! I've done your bidding. I've beaten your rival. Please thank me."
It was a hat tip to a fan base we had a history with. It's not like you had a bunch of BYU fans chirping at you all season.
I wish I could have. If we would have like TCU played Utah next weekend, I would have gotten like a glass of chocolate milk and been like tweeting at BYU Twitter, being like, "Look at
if
me,
you got it, sip them."
rivalry."
Okay, well, whatever.
Dude,
Like, I thought it was fun. Whatever.
Already? Oh god.
Blake with a Mormon missionary outfit on.
Okay, Jameson, who do you like?
Oh, it's Tennessee. What a bad pick, Bobby. We love Diego, but LSU deserved to cover that game last week, and they just kneeled it in the goal line. Like that should have been a score. That was easy over 7.5. Very unfortunate scenario. Tennessee's offense is putting it together and is going to beat them by more than 2 touchdowns. Easy pick.
Against who? UTEP?
No, other games.
When they scored 17 against Georgia,
What they
33 against Mississippi State, 28 against Kentucky.
They look good in the second half.
Fair enough. Anyways, let's move on to our next game. We've gone way too long on mink coats and whatever Blake's slanderous allegations are.
Slanderous. It was.
It does look
It's
like
the Arkansas Razorbacks, 6-5 overall, heading to take on Missouri. This is the battle line or the battle line rivalry. I don't know what they call it. It's stupid. Missouri 8-3. Mizzou's favored by Tree Fitty here. You can find this one 2:30 p.m. Central on the SEC Network. Jameson, who do you like?
Got to tighten up my tie here and go to work. This is all business. Give me Missouri minus 3.5.
Yeah. I'm probably gonna go Missouri here as well.
Oh, what the hell?
I don't know. I don't know.
You're not gonna pick the Pitties?
The Pitties have done me well, but sometimes you need to know when to walk away, Jameson. You really do.
Okay, fine.
I cashed in big against Texas, and I know if I keep slamming it, I'm gonna get some losses. I feel like Mizzou, they're gonna win this one by like 7 and then act like it's like, oh, look at us, program defined, and consider us for the playoff. Look at me, I'll be La Drinkwitz, all that. Yeah, no. I think Missouri wins, not by a lot, but they cover 3.5.
Can I make my analysis now? Because I was thinking totally that you were going to pick Arkansas, and
Sure.
I refrained from talking about Missouri. Yeah, I really do think it's Eli Drinkwitz's dork ass is going to do something stupid and try to run up the score here. You saw what he did versus Mississippi State, and this game's going to be close, but Eli's going to do something stupid at the end, and it's going to cover the Missouri State and the Missouri line backdoor. Just watch.
That's honestly a great take on this. I have to go the opposite. I'm the man of the people. I'm man of the pitties.
Bring him up. Bring him up. You got him?
I can find him in 1 second.
You got him.
If I see pitties, I'm taking pitties. That's all I gotta say. Where are they? They're right. They can't be that far.
You gotta press them. You gotta favorite them. If you got them, show them. Listeners, they probably know what they are.
Pitties.
Woo!
Big old pitties.
I'll keep that chat, or I'll keep that joke for offline. But Eli Drinkwitz needs to be stopped. Somebody has to do it. Be it the man of the people. It has to be pitties. I was so sick when I saw that clip of Eli Drinkwitz after being like, shut the hell up, or I'm going to just score on you, or like whatever he was saying to Mississippi State. Like, this guy is so cringe. He sucks so bad. Like, they have wildly benefited from a horrible schedule this year to get to the record that they are still even ranked in this playoff. This playoff process is just ridiculous. It shows, like, honestly, that is more than all this other, where Indiana should be ranked, where all these 2-loss SEC teams ranked. I know the committee doesn't know ball because Missouri is still ranked. I don't care about the record. If you have 2 eyes, you watch their games. They look bad. They look very, very, very bad. But yeah. Pitties are on there. Put them up one more time. Does Sam Pittman get fired if they go 7-5?
I hope he doesn't get fired either.
No, he shouldn't.
Yeah,
He shouldn't.
like, I think they expected not to even make a bowl this year, and they're gonna make a bowl. So
I think Arkansas should be pretty happy with what they got from their team this year.
they look like if Taylor Green was healthy all year, they probably win at least one more game.
Yeah, I
like
agree.
one more game, 2 more games. Like, it felt like he was.
Don't forget about that Oklahoma State game.
Yeah, like they had that one in the bag when we thought.
Yeah, massive missed opportunity.
One of the wild things that we still thought when you see clips, the weirdest thing is seeing clips from that game and then Oklahoma State Utah, which we thought was a pivotal game in the Big 12, was going to be absolutely pivotal. They now have just one win between them in Big 12 play, and it's against
Oklahoma
Utah.
State's got 0. Didn't Ty pick
yeah.
Oklahoma State like second in the Big 12 in the preseason? Ty, speak up.
I legitimately don't.
Yeah, but we all had.
We cannot slander people.
You know what? My Big 12 rankings were a power ranking, and it's about who would be favored if the game was played at Stillwater on homecoming.
Oh my God. Anyways,
Remember,
you'll
Ole Miss was number
understand
2 in the
LSU
nation.
power
last week.
rankings.
all right. So Blake went with the pitties. Ty, who do you like?
Pitties.
Look, let me tell you who I don't like. Both of these teams. And we need to have a very serious conversation about calling a game a rivalry when this is only the 15th time ever that they have played. Let that sink in. We're in 2024. These teams have played 15 times ever. You cannot call that a rivalry, particularly when both these schools are in easy driving distance. Like it's crazy. They're not rivals. They're like, stop trying to make this happen. They battle the battle line rivalry or whatever that they're trying to call it. The name was invented in 2014 or 15. And it sounds like something that like AI would come up with if you really think about it. You're like, what battle? Like it's a vague like Civil War reference, but there's no like associated sort of any history or anything else. It's absolutely disgusting. With that being said, I like Mizzou in this one. I don't like Mizzou at all. I don't like Drink very much, but we figured out a couple weeks ago why he is so interesting of a character. It's because he is from Norman, Oklahoma. If you don't believe me, look it up. And really just, I don't see what the problem was with him, being very mean to Mississippi State. I'm kind of shocked that anyone even heard about it, because typically when something happens and Jeff Levy is around, he just doesn't tell anyone about it. So kind of odd how that sort of got out to the public, but I guess that's what happened with Levy at Baylor as well. So go ahead and give me Mizzou minus 3.5.
Let me say this about Drink's little comments to Mississippi State about running up the score. Some people can say that and it's fine. It's just a competitive spirit. But whenever you're a dork like Drinkowitz, you just look stupid. So it's just him.
You also have to just do it. Don't threaten to do it. Like just do it.
And here's the thing. Here's the thing with Drink is there are people who are hateable, and they have because they do stuff like that, and they're actually kind of cool, like a Baker Mayfield. And then there are people who are hateable because they're just like annoying as hell, and that's Drink. And I think Drink thinks he's one of those people who's cool. And he just sucks. He just sucks.
He only punches down. Like he'll never try a comment against somebody against like a Georgia, Bama, a Tennessee that they're playing. It's only against teams and in situations that he knows he's going to win. Like
It's always after.
Yeah, it's always after. It's never before. It's never like he's willing to put like, at least I'll give Baker this. Like Baker kind of talked trash all the time and like backed it up with results. Drink only, he waits for the result and then starts talking trash. It's the worst. It's the worst form of you're trying to be edgy and cool. Like you just wait till your team wins and then start talking trash.
Exactly. Yeah. All right, moving on to our next game. It's the Iron Bowl. The Auburn Tigers, 5-6, fighting for bowl eligibility on the road in Tuscaloosa against the Crimson Tide, who are 8-3. Playoff dreams are reeling for them. Bama favored by 11.5 at home. Can find this one 2:30 p.m. Central on ABC. Ty, who do you like?
You are an absolute fool if you do not ride with me on the pick that I'm about to give you. And here's the thing. The Bama OU game the other day was not a fluke. It was not a wild outcome. What you saw was Bama come in very flat, and then you saw this OU team play to just the maximum of their capacity. Like you just saw OU, a little bit of Sooner magic, but not a fluke. Just you saw this team's absolute ceiling in terms of performance for this year in that game. And if you're going to take that game and then point to the Vandy game and then point to some other stuff and think that there is any chance in the world that Bama drops this game or doesn't win by 3 touchdowns, you're a fool. Bama has in terms of like actual programs, right? Like Mizzou and Arkansas can like do whatever, but programs that like are supposed to be respected programs, Bama, LSU, Oklahoma, Texas, A&M, stuff like that. Bama is the only school that has a worse coaching situation than OU right now. But give me Bama every day of the week minus 11.5. I would legitimately take Bama minus 16.5 in this one before I start to get worried. Do not believe that there's any sort of hype to this Auburn team. Bama clears this one easy.
Oh, this one's hard. Bama's gonna kill him. Bama's gonna kill him.
Listen, Blake's trying to zag. He's trying to win. He's trying to win. He's trying to justify
I don't know. I can't.
He's done the math on how many games he has to be opposite of me.
Y'all have only picked one game opposite so far.
Yeah, it's because we didn't push forward my rule for a second place punishment.
No, it's the
Blake
opposite.
has no incentive to
one
do
game.
anything.
Wait, Jameson, we picked one game together. Not one game opposite. Yeah,
whoopsies. My B.
Are we really opposite on
everything except for Kansas State? Yeah.
Ooh, I hope we get just a bunch of pushes. That'd be hilarious.
Do it, Blake.
No, this one you got it. Like, you can go opposite every play, but you got to actually win some of the fodder in order for it to matter. I'm gonna go Bama here. It's this Auburn team is really not that good. I'm more worried about a team off of a high energy win like that, where you're rushing the field, and then next week you got to go on the road and play a good team. That worries me a little bit. So I think Ty's right here. Give me Bama. I think just Jalen Milroe just puts them in a casket. Like, they're gonna win this game. I think Kalen DeBoer is smart enough to realize they got to kill Auburn to not start the hot seat talks immediately. Yeah. So if he's a smart man, if he has any tricks left in his bag, you pull him out now to save your season. So
especially since we know Bama people have already found his family online.
Oh God.
Oh God.
Yeah. So here's the thing with this one. If this game was at Jordan-Hare, I would be taking a hard look at Auburn plus 11.5, but we all know this rivalry is entirely different whenever you play it at Bryant-Denny. You just look at the tail of the tape. Anytime it's in Tuscaloosa, it's not really close at all. And I just see the Tide running away with this one. 11.5 feels like a lot. I get it, especially after how both of these teams, performed yesterday. But to me, I think at Bryant-Denny, Alabama rolls big.
Yep, it's Alabama. Auburn, yes, their game last week was fun, electric, overtime, back and forth. They put up some points. They had some great play from, Cam Coleman, Hunter, but big picture, I still saw some things there. I was like, I still think that the Auburn that we saw in the middle of the season, there's a lot of that stuff still there near the end of the season. Playing against a legitimate opponent like Alabama at home is going to be too tough. I think Alabama, like y'all said, runs away with it.
Awesome. All right, moving on to our next game. It's a revival. It's a revival of what is just truly one of the cooler regional college football rivalries in the country. A 10-year plus Cold War is over. It's the Texas Longhorns, 10-1 overall, 6-5 against the spread. Heading to Kyle Field to take on the Texas A&M Aggies, who are 8-3. Texas favored by 5.5 on the road. Find this one 6:30 p.m. Central on ABC. This rivalry means so much to these people. And yeah, I still don't think it's on the level of an OU Texas, of course, but I feel like this is probably going to be one of the best environments in college football this season. I'm excited for it. Jameson, who do you like?
I think y'all know where I'm going to go with this one. Another put up my tie business decision here. This is the Texas Longhorns, 5.5. Go ahead, Bobby.
Give me one, Jameson.
Look. All right. Jameson, I know exactly what you're trying to do. I don't care. I'm going A&M. I'm going A&M at home. I know they looked like hot ass last week at Auburn, but that environment's going to be unbelievable. It's going to be bumping. And look, Texas, every single time they go on the road, they have not looked as good. They just do not look great. This is, I believe, the second true SEC road game they played all season. And Kyle Field at night is going to be an entirely different environment than what we have going on. What we had going on in Arkansas. This is going to be loud. It's going to be intense. And I think A&M, if they don't win, they're going to cover 5.5. I really like the Aggies here. I think this is a program defining, could be a big, just a massive night for them. They need this one. And I just think A&M finds a way to pull it out, get a win. It's going to be, that environment's just going to be too much. So A&M plus 5.5 is my play.
Joining you, Bobby. It was always A&M. I didn't care what this line was before the season. The hate that flows between these two programs is immense, and I think we're going to see one of the best all-time atmospheres come Kyle Field this Saturday. The ticket prices for this game to get in are just absolutely bonkers at this point. Like the Cowboys, which are traditionally one of the hardest tickets in football in Texas, is going for like $50. That's also indicative on where they are at now, but the get-in price, I believe it's been fluctuating, but it's like probably 500, 600, 700 for this A&M game. It's ridiculous. Like this is going to be an all-time event, and you're telling me Texas, a program which has not played two teams yet with a winning conference record in the SEC. UMass has played two SEC teams with a winning conference record. Texas got very lucky with this, whatever this conference game lottery, that they had to play one game, they lost it, and now they actually have to go against a competent team. Like A&M might not be fantastic. I don't think they were, like last week against Auburn. It's a disappointing loss, but I don't think A&M's there yet where you're saying that's like so disappointing. Like this was the year. This is just the start for them. But I really like Elko in this matchup. I know they've been focusing on it. This environment's just going to be ridiculous. 5.5 points, way too much. I think they keep it close. Think they keep it really close, if not win. So give me Texas A&M.
Yeah, the atmosphere for this is going to be absolutely insane. This would be one of the rare games where I would say, like, if you're even within driving distance, even if there's no way you're going to get into the game, this is one of those, like, you just want to be there no matter what happens. Like the pregame atmosphere, the tailgating and everything is going to be insane. It's going to be electric, like just through the TV. Like the eyes that are on this, as you could say, the eyes of Texas are on this game. But this is just, is super, super exciting to see something like this come back with so much consequence as well. Like it got the context that it deserves as a game, in the fact that it has playoff complications, it has SEC title game complications and everything else. And this is absolutely a throw out the record book kind of game. But I just think that Texas is so obviously the pick here. And yeah, A&M struggled against an atrocious Auburn team last week, but I think that there is a lot going in A&M's favor for the home. I think Vegas is looking at this game, and I think you neutral site this one, or you put this one in Texas, and this jumps into the double digits very easily. I think that there is a ton of home field being priced into this line, and a ton of bettors that are throwing big money on chaos or whatever else, or just expecting a lot more from A&M. I think that Texas, to me, is the clear choice here. This is 100% in Texas's hands, I think, to not play down to the competition. And I think that Sark is petty enough and cares enough about things like this, as we've seen, in Red River even. So I think that there is tremendous potential that this one actually gets out of hand for A&M. So super, super exciting pregame, but this one could very easily get out of hand. Go ahead and I'll do a double horns up. I'm that confident in the Longhorns today.
I don't see it out of Texas. Like, I know I went on this rant about, I don't think Texas is that good, but like, I stand by it. Like what I said before Red River. They have not blown out teams they should blow out, outside of a Lagueless Florida. They looked mediocre against Kentucky. They almost screwed up and gave the game away to Arkansas, let them hang around so long. I don't think this Texas team is on that national championship caliber. I think they're a good team. I think they're a playoff team, but I don't think they're going to win the SEC, and I don't see them going overly far in the playoff. They just have not had that killer instinct, and the one big game against a good team they've played, they showed their ass in front of the entire country. So
I will say, Bobby, in my opinion, your take about this team being remarkably worse than last year's, I think that has been sort of proven and vindicated up to this point. Obviously, there's a lot of football left for Texas, so they could just turn it on in the SEC championship game and just turn it on in the playoff, and then we're like, oh, okay. But yeah, I think that one, I think I disagreed with you a little bit when you said it at first, but I think, yeah, last year's Texas team probably has a much more impressive performance against Texas's schedule this year.
Yeah, I think they just, I don't think they made some sort of miracle leap, and I don't know. I think it's going to all come out of the wash here.
But
you got it's all tough from here. The schedule, either A&M or Georgia or the college football playoff, like we're going to find out what the Longhorns are made of. That's for damn sure.
Do we know the status of Quinn Ewers? I know he was going to go in for an MRI, but don't know the results.
He played through it, so like he's gonna. Yeah. Was it just an ankle?
I believe so.
If the MRI with an ankle ain't gonna do shit. Like
go ahead, Ty.
You know what the problem is with his ankle?
Oh no,
it's attached to a quarterback who sucks.
Oh boy.
Yeah. All right, you're not going to learn anything from an MRI with that. I don't even know why they're doing it.
That's pretty funny.
I have been liking every single tweet that is like, if Quinn Ewers goes down in the SEC championship, they can't make the playoff. The president has said last year with FSU, if your starting quarterback goes down and you were in it, you are not allowed to get it. I don't care if Arch Manning's there. You can't let that happen. This is what happens. We got to play the hypotheticals. You know, that's what college football is all about, is playing the hypotheticals, not the actual games on the field.
Yeah, well, all right, let's move on to our next game. It's OU's regular season finale. The 6-5 Sooners are traveling to Baton Rouge for the first time in their history to take on the LSU Tigers, who are 7-4. LSU, a 6-point favorite at home. You can find this one 6:30 p.m. Central on, it's not ABC, I believe it's ESPN. Ty, who do you like?
Unfortunately, I think, look, Nussmeier is not great. But I think at home, end of the season, it's just this. I understand there's going to be some recency bias with OU, but like I said, if you look at OU's game against Bama very objectively, there was a lot of very impressive stuff. Xavier Robinson, obviously, I almost said Xavier Worthy because I'm still thinking Texas. That would have been atrocious. Xavier Robinson, really massive piece for this offense coming back in. Some potential, maybe, constant OU talking point for some receiver production returning. But I just didn't really see a big step forward from the offense that led me to believe that OU can win this game. I think that LSU is going to have a very happy end to their home season, and I think that they get the win by at least 6 points. So as much as I would love for OU to go into Death Valley at night, close out the season with a win, end up, a 7-win team in the regular season with wins against Bama and then a win at night against LSU, just doesn't seem super, super likely. So give me the Tigers.
Yeah, I'm following Ty into this one. I thought what OU did last weekend was very impressive, but it feels like whenever you're having those down seasons and you pull off the miraculous, that is what it is. It's the miraculous. It's not your team suddenly turned into turn from pumpkin to whatever the pumpkin turns them from in Cinderella. I don't know. It doesn't look good. It's going to turn back into what it is. Yeah, the carriage. Yeah. You're not you turn to the carriage for one game, but you're going back to the pumpkin this week. I think OU had a good game plan, executed it well, but I feel like that was meant for one upset. LSU, I think, even as they are sliding, they are reeling bad. Everything's going bad in Baton Rouge, honestly, right now. It's like you get the win last week, but Bryce Underwood decommitting. He was supposed to be your future under Brian Kelly. He was supposed to be the guy that was going to feed families for the next 3 years, and nothing. And now you're stuck with what you do with Garrett Nussmeier. You don't really want him to come back. He might just go to the pros because he's toolsy, as the scouts tell me, but he really sucks every time I watch him play. So, but I'm still going to go LSU. I just think environment, 6 points. I could easily see them winning by 7. I just think OU is who OU has always been, but they finally just clicked together one game and won one. So give me LSU.
Yeah, and I mean, here's my thing: is I don't feel like the scheme that they pulled out was some sort of like tricky, gimmicky garbage. You know, I feel like they found something that really helps cater to the team's strength, which is not throwing the football and kind of running, kind of powering it out. And I think Xavier Robinson really changes the dynamic of this team, and kind of orchestrating it around the run game was an absolute big move. And even though the numbers weren't flashy, like Ty said, I get it. Like the offense didn't take some sort of worldly step in terms of production, but what it did take is a step in, you know, really being a complement to the defense, in grinding and like holding on to the ball, long possessions, not turning the ball over for the most part outside of the Taylor Tatum fumble. It found a bit of an identity somehow. And I feel like, to me, I don't think it's a one-off gimmick. I think it's a significant step in the right direction for this season. You don't want to be that all the time, but I think that's something you can take into Death Valley and have a chance to win the ball game. I think the defense is going to be playing at a top level, as it has been all season. I think the way the offense is geared allows them to play at the top of their abilities. And I get Death Valley. Yeah. Baton Rouge, all of that's going to be incredible. But this is a LSU team that, as everyone's saying, is kind of spiraling right now. The fan base isn't happy. They want Brian Kelly's head. And am I crazy to say this, but I kind of think OU can go into Death Valley and sneak out a win. Maybe I'm a little delusional after beating Alabama, but to me, you know, this style of play, I think you can find a way to keep this thing close. I'm going to go with the Sooners to cover 6. I'm not sure if they win, but I think they keep it respectable. Because overall, the biggest issue with the offense, more than anything, has been the turnovers. And if you can prevent turnovers, if you can keep, just don't turn the damn ball over, I think this team can be significantly well set up for success, as it was against Alabama. I don't think that was a fluke. I think that was a design, a scheme that worked. And I think they do enough complementary football to keep this thing really, really close. And if they don't win the game, they lose at a close one. And you got to be happy with that. But
y'all threw for 68 yards. I didn't realize it was that bad. I knew it was ground and pound, but
our leading receiver had 2 catches for 21 yards.
Jesus Christ. Okay, I feel better about my pick.
we had 11 passes, and 3 of them were shuttle passes.
Jeez.
Not designed.
But here's here's the thing: is it kind of worked. And I kind of would rather
one game when you completely changed what you've done the entire season. Nothing on tape, catch them by surprise. Yes.
And what about this, Blake? Well, let's remember what is LSU's biggest defensive weakness? Running quarterbacks.
Yeah, but it's running quarterbacks that have a chance to throw the ball. Like, if they're just gonna sell out for the run and make Jackson Arnold try to throw for it, they're toast. Jalen Milroe can throw the ball. Like, Jalen Milroe can throw the ball.
Marcel Reed?
Marcel Reed was just a total wild card that they threw in the middle, of the second half. Like, and he was able to tear him up, but I think they just go into this game prepared that Jackson Arnold is going to throw it 10 times.
That's why we throw in Michael Hawkins, Blake.
Oh,
can I just say that we're focusing way too much on the offense here? we're focusing way too much on the offense when picking this game. Y'all can tear down Oklahoma's offense. Y'all can tear down the passing game. You can say that it's not sustainable long term. I completely agree with you. That is absolutely a negative. But this is an Oklahoma team that is a 6-point underdog, and their defense just went out and absolutely just blasted and punched Alabama in the face. And I think this is a team that can keep this close, make it competitive, and grind it out into the fourth quarter. You give me plus points with the way that Oklahoma's defense played versus LSU. And if we can keep on blocking on the offensive line like we did last game, something we haven't done all season, seems like we have a solid offensive line unit with some continuity and they seem healthy-ish. I think this team can keep it close and give us a chance at the end of the game. I think Oklahoma can cover this. I don't know. If I had to put the score prediction down, I'm saying it's going to be like 20-23 LSU. But I think Oklahoma covers it.
Yeah, there we go. We got a split on that. All right, let's move on to our favorite pick of the week.
Why aren't the brakes working?
Because I cut the brakes! Wild card, bitches!
All right, it's time for the wild card picks, and I have officially been doomed to last place.
That was so dumb. Can we just talk about that? This dude picking Oklahoma.
It almost worked. It almost worked. That was a very close game. It was a very close game, and it was a gambit that almost worked out. And to be honest, even I could have made a pick that got that, best pick ever, cruise to a victory. I would have been screwed regardless. So at least I took the risk.
What would you have picked?
I don't know.
I
was picking whatever you were going to do opposite.
Jameson had more eyes on that OSU Tech game than I think the Bama OU game. Like that man was like breaking down like all 22 film at halftime in the group text, like giving me play by play, and then he's silent during the OU game. I just love it. I love it.
Going full Gruden on there. Yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you, Jameson had like YouTube on his phone during the OU game, just watching more highlights of Tech.
Dude, Bear Martin was slinging it on that Oklahoma State defense. My God. And Texas defense is atrocious in its own.
It's so bad.
It's bad. We know that. But my God, Baron Morton was a player. And Taj Brooks, man. Oh. Texas Tech, if they just had a defense with that offense, they'd be another team at the top of the Big 12 we'd be talking. But obviously, shoulda, woulda.
That is everybody every year. Their offense is so legit they just haven't. That it never will. It never will. It's always been like that since the dawn of time.
I get it.
Yeah.
You will
never was, never will be.
You'll never get this.
Is it my turn?
Yes.
My turn.
I didn't know what to do. Things got quiet there. I thought we were still talking.
You've been at the bottom of the leaderboard this entire year.
I know. I didn't know we were going to still be talking, and then things went quiet, and I was like, I didn't know if it was my time to talk.
Pick the Egg Bowl, Jameson.
You know what? A game that I really like, Blake? A team that I really like and a team that I really didn't like last week. Your Cincinnati Bearcats, I did not like last week. TCU -3 on the road versus Cincinnati. I like that one. I know it scares you. Cincinnati fighting for a bowl game at home, it scares you. But
it scares me because TCU's defense has stepped up a little bit, but the offense, like randomly in the second quarter this past weekend, went so cold it just allowed Arizona to get back in it. Like, granted, we like throttled them like after halftime, but it just like Kendall Briles just gets way too cute sometimes when he gets a lead that like the offense just goes so cold, so quick.
I get it. I don't know what I'm seeing here, but here's the thing. TCU is not on this slate. I'm nipping at Blake's ankles in the wild card standings at 8-6 here. Take away the TCU option game. I like it. Give me TCU 3-point favorites. I like this game a lot. Cincinnati just looked gross last week. Like I thought that I'd see something from them and Sorsby. It just looked flat and it was very, very disconcerting. I just don't like the way that their momentum's going into the end of the season. I understand, like, going into this week, probably a good bet is to pick a lot of the 5-win teams because they're fighting for a bowl. Cincinnati, I just didn't like what I saw.
Yeah, earlier Ty said pick the Egg Bowl. I'm going to listen to him. I'm picking the Egg Bowl.
The honorary Bobby meme. I need the meme from The Mandalorian.
The egg.
I
We
might
desire
need to
the
zigzag
egg.
Bobby on this one.
Yeah, so
I think he's about to do something extremely foolish.
I can't do anything foolish. I'm already at last in the wild. I know this counts for the overall standings too, but
You
quite
could get yourself
genuinely.
into double punishment, Bobby. If you're
Bobby's essentially like, he's up by 7 right now, and he has the ball on his own 20, and it's 4th and 3, and he's like, I'm gonna go for it because I don't want to punt it back to Jameson here.
Look. You're giving me 27 points in an Egg Bowl. I don't care.
Oh my God, he's gonna do it.
Oh, no.
I do not care. I do not care how good Mississippi is, how bad Mississippi State is. The Egg Bowl is gross, and I don't see any team winning the Egg Bowl by more than 27 points. Give me Mississippi State plus 27.
No.
Give me that rotten egg cover.
So stanky.
Ty,
Blake, are you gonna finish this man off, or am I gonna have to do it?
Or are you gonna take it? I'm not taking the Egg Bowl, so if you want to take the opposite, I'll give you the
I
floor
wanted
now.
to pick I feel like it's such a crime that we're not gonna even talk about the game. So I kind of wanted to just do a hater pick and take Ohio State by 21. I'm gonna game time decision, but if you're not gonna,
Okay, that's fine. Then I will go ahead and do mine. I have been one of my many stands I've taken the past few weeks that I've just been a prophet on. I told you Sunbelt Billy was going to take Florida to a bowl game before that last game. I said he was going to take one of those wins on one of the LSU win or the Ole Miss win, and he took damn both. And now you're telling me he's going into Tallahassee only a 15-point favorite against a absolute crap FSU team. They are going to throttle them. Sunbelt Billy is going to give them lashings. They're going to show them why they're the best team in Florida. This one's going to be ugly. I didn't care what the spread of this game was going to be. I was going to take Florida. They're going to kill him. It's so nice seeing Danny Cannell getting ratioed on every one of his tweets because of how bitter he is that 2-9 Florida States are just still chugging along. Yeah, he was making fun of Gator fans today for making a bowl game when your team is 2-9. Like, I understand if you're going to the playoff and it's like your rivals excited about going to the Music City Bowl, you make fun of them then, but not when you're not even like outside of the club. Like, you are in like a third world country away, not even remotely close. You can't be making fun. So give me Florida. Sunbelt Billy's gonna save this 15.
Wow.
I love that. I actually really do love that pick.
Did you guys see any of the Florida State Charleston Southern game last week?
I did not catch it.
Didn't tune into that one.
I know they
Jameson.
wore their cool uniforms that I like, but
I think Florida State got the cover there.
finally.
Ty, who do you like?
Look, this week is just so unfortunate because
We could have done 20 games.
there's so many there's so many great games, and there's so many great lines on these games. Like, I just real quick, like, SMU 13.5 points versus Cal seems like just such a great one. Obviously, like I said, the game we're not even going to touch on. Ohio State 21 points. It's maybe a lot in that game against Michigan, but I can't when Bobby took the Egg Bowl, that was the FSU, fading FSU was also on my radar here. I had a lot of options, but when Bobby took the Egg Bowl and then took Jeff Lebby's side, when Bobby said, I stand with Jeff Lebby, I cannot allow that. As like on moral grounds, I must continue to fade Jeff Lebby. I already dug at him once on this pod, so that's just excellent foreshadowing that ties me into this pick. Absolutely. give me Lane Kiffin, whose name I forgot till like 2 weeks ago on the podcast, and everyone thought it was a bit. Give me Lane Kiffin to absolutely smoke this Mississippi State team. I understand that it's the Egg Bowl. Crazy things can happen. That's what is so beautiful about this game, but you cannot have this big of a mismatch in these teams and also have Ole Miss as kind of a cornered animal right now within the SEC, knowing that there's just whatever you do, you have to just absolutely blow this one out. Like, it's Kiffin already like weird position because they've been so good for Ole Miss this season. But at the same time, there's a lot of people looking around going, well, if that's what Bama looks like, that's what Georgia looks like, that's what LSU looks like, are we really going to have that many years? You know, Tennessee also fairly respectable, but not like this is the first time in the SEC in a long time that I can think of that there's not one, if not two, like, oh my God, that team is going to smoke anyone they face. And that's really hard for Kiffin and Ole Miss when they're just kind of putting out the same product on the field as they have against these teams that were supposed to be world beaters. So I think there are some question marks there. And I say that, I was long on that, but I say that to say that there's a lot of motivation for Ole Miss and for Kiffin and for these Rebs to stay on the gas as long as they can in this game. And I understand it's the Egg Bowl. I understand it's a lot of points, but Ole Miss minus 28 in this one seems like that is the line, I think, right?
27.
Yeah, okay, so Ole Miss minus 27 in this one for sure to me just seems like. And then finally, it's like we're in like a zombie movie right now, and Bobby has been bitten by a zombie. And yes, technically I will have to be the one who takes him out, but I'm saving him. This is pure mercy. Like, Bobby is at the bottom. He's still trying to cook up some way to maybe not take the wild card punishment that we've instituted for this year. I'm just going to, take him out of his misery with this pick. So go ahead and give me Ole Miss minus 27 in the Egg Bowl.
Well, damn, that's fine. I'll take it.
Kiffin loves to run up the score on bad opponents. Like, that is one thing he does.
Mississippi State, though, I don't know. They have had moments where they like kind of keep things close. I don't know. They're a weird team because they are definitely bad, but I feel like I've seen them play surprisingly close more than I've seen them get rocked, if that makes any sense.
They're 2-9.
I know. I'm not saying they're good. I'm not saying they're good, but I'm just saying, like,
19 last week to Missouri.
The comedic timing of that on the podcast version of this episode is going to be hilarious.
That's what I'm saying. So you lose by 19 to Missouri. You lose 33-14 to Tennessee. 58-25 to Arkansas. Not great. Not ideal. But also you got like 10-point loss to A&M, 10-point loss to Georgia. Kept it decent with Texas for a while. I'm not saying it's Arizona State, only 7-point loss. I
did pick the dogs to get me a W versus UMass.
I just think it's too many points. And it's on a Friday right after Thanksgiving, a little weird. I don't know. I feel like the Egg Bowl rivalry, all of that, it's enough to keep it close.
Stranger things have happened.
They're not going to get remotely close to winning. I just think they cover 27. Come on. Yeah, no. We'll see.
It'll be a fun game.
I hope they get a backdoor and then just an egregious excessive celebration or something. Like you get the dog.
They celebrate for the cover
again.
Because of the cover,
and then it gets taken away.
They blow the cover. Because of a dog piece celebration. That's funny.
It's happened before.
Look, it's almost midnight on the East Coast. Jameson's running on fumes. We're all running on fumes. It's been a long weekend. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. We're gonna keep this one on YouTube, a YouTube exclusive for a couple days here. But thank you all so much for the support throughout the season. This has been really fun, and looking forward to picking the championship games next week. As always, we'll pick all of them from the MAC all the way to the SEC. It's going to be great. So been another really fun season of the Weekend Spread. New format with the Big 12 and the SEC has been great. And and just really pumped. Really happy about what we've been able to accomplish this season. So great work to all of y'all, and just so fun. So yeah, but we got more pods to do, and we all need sleep. I'm not going to go around and ask y'all what you're thankful for this season, because I don't know.
What the
Anyways,
hell? What?
I'm tired. We're ending the podcast. Have a good holiday with everybody. Have a good holiday, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving. Good night, and good luck out there.